Hey guys, hello everyone. I felt like for a long time we did not have a good old slow game. So we're going to play a game today. It's a 5+5 game versus Mr. Clear Eye 2302. And we have this kind of pirc defense setup where Black played this provocative move, knight to c6. How can I punish such a move? Maybe there is no way to punish it. We can just play kind of positional. One idea is to play bishop e5 and take on c6, maybe play for a slow game. Let's do this. So a6, well, I'm being provoked to take on c6. I might have made this move anyway, so he might have saved on that move. That might be a waste of time. The move h3 was important, not to allow his bishop to be developed. And I think later on in the game, this bishop on b7 will turn out to be a pretty passive piece. Let's play rook e1, kind of support all kinds of actions in the center. Maybe at some point I'm thinking about pushing on e5. Also, um, defend overprotecting the pawn e4 cannot be bad. Yeah, rook b8 is a kind of automatic move, but I can always play b3 if I want to just take off any pressure from that line. Maybe the only problem is if I play b3, he might play c5 and try to open up this diagonal for his bishop. Let's play. I can also play like a solid move like rook b1. Um, is it so bad? Let's play rook b1. Perhaps on the previous move before rook e1, I should have played immediately bishop g5 in order for my rook to have been protected. So my plan now will be involved exchanging this bishop on g7. If I can play bishop g5, queen d2 and bishop h6, I will be fairly happy. So let's play bishop g5. This move is nice because it's also slightly provoking him to play a move like h6, which kind of slightly weakens his king position. Then I can retreat to e3 and play the move queen d2 with a gain of tempo. What he needs to do at some point is break in the center because he has two bishops. So a move like c5 comes to mind. The only problem with the move c5 that white needs to be aware of the option of me playing knight e5. That's why he's playing rook to e8 to overprotect his pawn on e7 from any kind of future attacks. So one option is just continue with my plan with queen d2, and then he would probably play c5. Another option is to go e5, try to kind of use my space advantage in the center. This move makes sense. Let's try e5, see where it leads us. At the moment, I'm not really having a lot of threats. I might want to play knight e4 just to put more pressure on this pawn on d6. And also an idea at some point is to take on d6 and play for this pressure against e7, even though this pawn is pretty well defended. So probably my next move likely to be knight to e4. I think that he should play a move like knight to b6, trying to get his knight into a better position, and maybe also letting his bishop be developed into the game. So he's doing this via f8. Maybe he wants to go to e6, but I must say I don't like this move so much. Let's play queen d2. Or knight e4, just continue my plan. I want to play queen d2 just to be able to answer the move knight e6 with bishop h6 to exchange the bishops. But maybe I don't want to exchange bishops. Maybe I want to keep my pressure on this diagonal. play knight e4, let's see what happens. I would be very delighted for him to play d5 and attack my knight, because then I will have a nice square to sit on c5. Probably he needs to either develop his bishop and then play knight e6, or play knight e6 immediately, trying to kind of get his pieces into the game. Knight e6, okay, so I'm definitely not going to let him take on g5, so my two options are bishop h4 or bishop e3. I kind of like both of them make sense, because bishop e3 I'm keeping some options of playing bishop h6, bishop h4 I'm keeping pressure on e7. Tough choice. Let's go back to e3. Slightly more solid. I'm also keeping protection of the square on f4, so if I would go to h4, he might have played at some point a move like knight f4, kind of trying to attack my king, so this also makes sense. I think the position is objectively still unclear. Maybe a little bit better for white, but black is definitely having a very solid position. But he needs to figure a way to untangle his pieces a little bit. His bishop, all of these three pieces are still kind of caged. White is having some space advantage, but I think the fact that black has two bishops is kind of compensates him pretty nicely. Okay, d5. That's exactly the type of move I wanted him to play, because this gives me some squares in the center and takes away the pressure of the pawn on e5. Two options. So knight c5, which transposes the pawn structure, and then play for the d4 square. That's an option. Might be a good option. Also, I don't want to play knight d2, because then you can sacrifice the pawn and play for some activity. Another option is knight g5, but then I need to misplace my pieces a little bit. Let's play knight c5. Seems reasonable. I'm slightly doubling up my pawns there, but I'm getting a very nice outpost for my pieces on d4. Should be enough of compensation for me. I'm not even sure which piece will stand on d4. It can be the knight, it can be the bishop. In all of these positions, by the way, I want you to notice how passive is this bishop on c8. You cannot really find good square on the entire board right now. So one of the reasons I like white's position is because of this fact, that his pieces lack kind of coordination a little bit. That's one more drawback of the move d5. Now his bishop on g7 is becoming pretty much a useless piece. He plays f6 just to try to open up the game. It's a sensible choice. So at the moment the threat is to take on c5 and take on e5. Definitely something I should be reacting to. So at the moment the most logical move I can see is knight takes c6. Do I even have more options? That's the question. Probably not. Let's take on e6. And here I can make I can either play bishop f4 to kind of boost my control over e5, or make some developing move like queen d2. Both are good. Queen d2 seems reasonable. Let's do that. I'm a little bit low on time. He's having more than a minute of advantage of the clock, even though this is being played with a 5 seconds increment, so it should be okay. Now if he takes on e5, I'm definitely going to take back with the knight. Actually, taking back with the pawn is possible too. I don't think it really helps him. My pieces, I think, are pretty much ready to attack on the king side. My bishop can be launched to h6. So instead of him, I would probably not take on e5. Maybe queen d7, a similar move to queen d2, just to develop the queen into the game and get his rook connected. I think it's a solid move on his side. So my knight basically would be very happy to be on c5 if he could, but it's a long way there. Let's play bishop f4 probably, or bishop h6. Let's play bishop f4. I'm a little bit low on time. I need to trust a little bit my intuition more on the next couple of moves in order not to get into a severe time trouble. So I don't want to let him exchange, so I will probably move my knight away. This bishop is not really stable on e4. I can always push it away with f3, so I'm not particularly scared of him. This knight can jump to g4 and support some kind of attack on his king, so it's also a nicely placed piece, I think. c5. Okay, so he sacrifices the pawn to get some activity. That's a novel thing to do. Probably the correct thing to do also. I will play f3 though. Because at some point I need to get this bishop away from its current position. F takes e5. Right, so do I want to exchange bishops or not? That's a principled decision to make, actually. Probably yes. Let's exchange the bishops. Because in doing so, we are creating pretty serious weaknesses around his king. Yeah, if I could have this move right now, I would be nearly winning. But since this is not possible, we will have to take it slower. I mean, it will just exchange. e6 is interesting, just to blunt in this pawn. So low on time though. Let's play e6. Oh, I forgot that he have rook b6. That's annoying. I thought he would. I only thought about queen d6, but now I figure that he has this move. My threat is g4, so yeah, he has to do this. Annoying for sure. Let's play knight g4. Yeah, I made a mistake there probably. I will still try to go for some attack though. Yeah, so he decided to trade off and let this pawn stay alive. It's a risky decision. This pawn is pretty annoying. So now he wants to centralize his queen on d5. So I'm not allowing him to do so. I'm also threatening this pawn. Did he blunder this pawn? I think I'll capture it. I don't see a reason why not to capture it. I think my time situation has stabilized a little bit. Let's develop the rook into the game. Yeah, I think my position is okay now. I got stabilized, which is important. So there's a little trap. If I take with the queen, there is rook e1, so I have to take with the rook. Okay, we are not falling for traps. I think he must play rook d6, yeah, because otherwise this pin would be annoying. Yeah, so now I have a pawn up position. Okay, let's capture just because I'm so low on time. I think now this is a nice move just to kind of make his queen be pretty much pinned to the defense of this pawn. Let's make a prophylactic move, king h2, just not to get checked at any point. Yeah, the position is still not easy to win at all. I have a pawn up, but he is very solid. And we have queens on the board. Obviously, queens are always very difficult to fight against because he will always have some checks to give. There is a perpetual mechanism here, h4 and e1, so he might play a move like d5, trying to get that kind of mechanism work, but yeah, he still can play d5 now, but I'm just not forced to take the pawn. I can play queen f4 check, for example. In the long run, I feel like white should be winning though, because he has this very big majority on the queen side. Eventually, I will start pushing my pawns forward. Yeah, I think he miscalculated the last couple of moves. He allows my king to get slightly more stabilized on g3 now. Now it's more difficult for him to create any checks. Oh, big mistake there. He allowed me to exchange queens. I think now he's losing. Yeah, in the pawn endgame, black is busted. He might even resign right now. Not resigning? Yeah, fair enough. Let's play. But I will eventually create a passed pawn on this side, so should be pretty easy. This move is very critical. He must have not allowed it. Now, yeah, g5 is his only chance. But I do have this move. Looks pretty technical to me. Well, let's calculate. b4 takes a5, king d6. No, he catches my pawn. So let's play this first. My threat is now b4 and start pushing my pawn. a5, d4, a6. Let's just not calculate. Let's play safe. Let's play king takes b4. I think I can also play a5 and be more risky, but I don't see any reason to be risky in such a good position. Yeah, so a6, king b6, a7 takes. Yeah, this is winning. I will just come in with the king and take his pawns on the other side. It's a pretty common mechanism of winning such position. Yeah, I will probably not allow any tricks. Yeah, this is very easily won. He should resign now. But he doesn't. Okay, let's play. Now he resigns. Yeah, it's a pretty tough game, I must say. I think he throughout most of the game he had a completely fine position. Let's consult the engine a little bit. So he allowed me to take. So in this position, well, the engine says I'm on a almost +1 advantage if I play a very safe move b3, and he actually does not like my move because he says that he can just play c4. Probably he blundered his pawn. This really changed. This was the critical moment of the game where he kind of this changed his fate a little bit, and now I think the rest is just not very good. Um, I think throughout of the game he was in a fine position, but the engine thinks otherwise. It thinks that I have almost a +2 advantage here, which is surprising. Um, I think I played decently, probably not perfect, but anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. This was a +5 game. Hopefully next time we can get a slightly longer game with some commentary, some ideas, some thoughts for you guys to think about. So let me know in the comments if you like the game and whether whether should I play longer games or whether should I stick to this kind of 5+5 time controls. So really thank you guys for watching. See you guys next time. Bye bye.